Hi, this is your host, Abhi Bharti, and welcome to TFI Newsroom. In today's episode, we are going to talk about a partnership between Robin Systems and Google, where they are bringing storage and advanced data management capabilities to Google Kubernetes Engine and Google Cloud Services platform. To discuss this partnership, we have with us two executives from Robin Systems, Radhesh Menon, the CMO, and Partha Sitla, the Chief Technology Officer or CTO of Robin Systems. So welcome to the show. So before we talk about this partnership, can you tell us a bit about what does Robin Systems do?
The vision of the company is to enable our customers to run and manage data-centric workloads. And when I say data-centric workloads, I'm specifically talking about big data platforms or database, traditional NoSQL databases or traditional RDBMS type solutions on Kubernetes. And the value prop that you want to provide to the customers is very quick provisioning of these workloads on Kubernetes so that you get the typical agility that customers typically expect out of Kubernetes today for these workloads as well. And on top of that, for the operations teams, a very simple way in which they can do lifecycle management for these workloads.
And where do we
if I could add to that, Swapnil, essentially the core promise is bring any stateful applications to Kubernetes. And we recognize that in this space, clearly Kubernetes has established itself as the default platform when it comes to managing the infrastructure. So how do you enable whole slew of applications that have been architected 5 years before the whole container cloud native evolution happened onto this great platform which can bring in agility as well as efficiency, portability, right? That's what Robin addresses.
Excellent. And now let's quickly talk about the partnership that you and Google have forged. Tell us a bit about the details of this partnership. What is it all about?
At the highest level, there are two elements to the partnership. First is engineering to engineering collaboration so that we are actually moving the state of the art in terms of what does it mean to provide data management capabilities for applications running in a Kubernetes environment. So that's first pillar. Second is we are actually, given the fact that we've been working on data intensive workloads for the past 4+ years, we are packaging our know-how and bringing in the capabilities in the form of Robin Storage, which helps bring advanced data management capabilities to customers embracing GKE both on-prem and in the cloud so that they can run these stateful applications in GKE environment. So pretty excited about the partnership. And Partha, do you want to go more into the engineering to engineering relationship as well?
Sure. So a few things here, right? When it comes to running stateful workloads on Kubernetes, the starting point obviously is the CSI framework, which is the Container Storage Interface framework. Now that has existed for some time now. It has been GA'd and with Kubernetes 1.13. Now, when you look at the interface itself, it is an equalizer of sorts in the sense that most storage vendors, as long as they can adhere to that spec, you pretty much can provide persistent volumes for pods, right, running inside Kubernetes. But when you look at the workloads that we talked about, databases and big data and things like that, there are a few challenges, right? So number one is it's not just providing storage for these applications. You also want to do data management for those workloads, right? And when I say data management, I'm talking about things like snapshots or clones or backup and things like that, restores and so on. Now, again, doing it from a volume level or storage volume level is more or less available through the CSI framework. You could take, it's an alpha right now, but you could take snapshots using CSI at a volume level. But when people really want to do lifecycle, they're doing lifecycle at a database level. You would like to snapshot an entire, let's say, a MongoDB cluster, or you would like to snapshot an entire Postgres. You'd like to go and create a clone of your Postgres database and so on, right? So you need to go a little above data storage and volume into an entire application, and then basically say, I would like to do data management at that. Now, in order to do that, a couple of things. Number one is Robin storage stack is built to be application aware. So let me start by what that means. So when we started architecting our storage stack, we were very clear that the world doesn't really need yet another storage stack just for the sake of it, right? There are In fact, even if you look at the CSI vendors today, there are almost 30 CNCF certified CSI vendors, right? Really, the world doesn't require another one. And we said that, okay, so what is the real problem, right? Putting storage underneath pods is a solved problem. I mean, there's nothing new there, right? The real problem is how do you take the storage and then manage it and attach it and use it from the perspective of an application, so that when you do things like snapshot, the storage stack knows what to snapshot, and it can take an application consistent snapshot across multiple persistent volumes attached to multiple pods that constitute an application or a database, right? So we said that, okay, if the storage stack does not understand the notion of an application, its topology and all that, it cannot really do application consistent snapshots. All you could do is volume level snapshots, which is not application consistent. Second, you could not do application level quality of service, which is very required if you're trying to consolidate databases on a platform such as Kubernetes, right? So we build a storage stack with all this knowledge that you have about applications and all that, and we leverage that towards providing app consistent workflows. Now that is something that is very unique, very new, and it's performant. We can do it at a much larger scale, because if you look at some of the other CSI vendors, they have taken an easy approach by just layering data management on top of something like open source ButterFS or Ceph and all that, the older, I would say almost 10, 15-year-old technologies, which are completely unaware of applications, right? And we took this approach of being more application aware. And that led us to a very pragmatic and a very scalable and a very performant architecture. And that is what interested Google as well, saying that, okay, this is an architecture that is so pragmatic and that is so performant and scalable that it would actually serve the needs of providing storage for CSP as well as GKE and all that. And when they did they ran an RFP and they picked us as a preferred storage, it's from one of the reasons was this, that the architecture is very good. But beyond that, as Rajesh mentioned, we have had experience in running things like Oracle RAC on Kubernetes, large Cloudera distribution, multi-petabyte scale. In fact, we have customers who have several petabytes under one Cloudera cluster running on Kubernetes on Robin, right? So that knowledge has led us to kind of figure out certain things around how you do things like backup and application portability and all that. So we, Google and Robin engineers, are collaborating on providing a set of APIs that we want to open source or pass back to the community, so that other people can also benefit from the data management capabilities that we are trying to offer you.
At engineering level, what kind of partnership is there? I mean, I'm not talking about business partnership, but what kind of engagement is there between engineers of Google and Robin Systems?
So we have been interacting at quite a few levels. Number one is the general idea behind how do you take these data management capabilities and then present it as a open standard within Kubernetes. That's one. The second thing is, what would we do around operators for data management that could be standardized within Kubernetes, and how will these operators work with the storage stack per se, right? So it is at an API level, it is at a design level, it's making certain design choices around how you're going to accomplish some of these things so that they actually work, not just at a volume level, but an entire application level. So it's a pretty interesting, deep engagement with the engineers back and forth.
So I want to also highlight that Partha is actually co-presenting with Google product management team at Google Next, right? So the opportunity for further deeper partnership as we go along. But the key thing I want to highlight is that with this partnership, the preferred storage for running enterprise applications or stateful applications on GKE is Robin Storage, and we're very excited about that.
So you're saying that your preferred storage. What does that actually mean? Will there be more partners, or you have this for now, or can you explain that part?
Sure. Look, as we understand, Google clearly wants to create an ecosystem of choices in this space. Our remit, and we pride ourselves in being the first implementation partner. We have our solution available in the marketplace, and to the point that we discussed earlier, it's not just about offering the solution. We're also partnering from an engineering perspective to move what is the state of the art, to move the needle on what is the state of the art, right? So we're pretty pumped about where we are and what we are doing here.
So why did Google choose Robin?
There are multiple reasons, as I said, right? I think it all starts, number one, with how you architect a product, correct? Because as I said, storage, if you just look at it from bits management or just managing the data that's there on disks, is a largely solved problem, right? Now, when you try to take that and apply it to a DevOps type or a cloud native type of deployment, you need to architect storage in a slightly different way, right? And what we have done is, instead of just making an incremental enhancement to the storage stack, we actually pushed it a lot forward. We have essentially pushed the entire notion of, as I said earlier, applications down into storage. And then we have provided primitives upwards that can be programmed towards, and then you can get app level data management very easily. So that's one thing. I think architecture is one. The second thing I would say is we have had very good success at running very, very large scale workloads running on the Robin storage stack on Kubernetes in the field, right? And across a wide variety of workloads. When people talk about storage today, obviously, or stateful workloads today, obviously there are things like Postgres and MySQL. So obviously we support that, but beyond that, we have had very good success in running large-scale Oracle RAC deployments, SAP HANA deployments, Cloudera, Elasticsearch, Splunk, what have you, right? So those kind of workloads we have enabled customers to run them on Kubernetes in production. So I would say that that's another reason why it got picked, because if you just kind of survey the market today, here in 2019, there are, I would say, I mean, in fact, it's very hard to even count other CSI vendors. I don't think there's anyone out there who has actually run Oracle RAC on Kubernetes. Is anyone else out there who has run Cloudera on Kubernetes, right? So I think we are very unique in terms of where we are, what we are capable of doing, and how we have architected. And it comes down to how we have architected.
Right, excellent.
Yeah. So I would say, summarize into three things, right? Proven, highly performant, and then third is elevating the data management capabilities from just data to apps plus data, right? These three are clearly our differentiators, and we believe we have a head start relative to other players in this space. And so we see the partnership as an opportunity to bring the joint value to a broader set of customers.
Right. You mentioned a lot of workloads, so that answered one of my questions. But when you look at those customers, what were the pain points, or like what are the challenges they were facing when it's come to kind of management of data-centric workloads? Because you said there are some huge, massive workloads that nobody else can run. So what are the challenges? Can you talk about that quickly?
Sure. So maybe I will take two examples that will kind of highlight some of the use cases that you could get. So the first example I would say is a very large network security provider. And this network security provider has network security devices all over the world. And these devices are on real time. Essentially, they are monitoring network traffic and preventing intrusion from happening. Now, this team, the company, what it does is it collects all the data from the devices that are sitting across the world, and it pushes it back into their primary data center. And then they have a lot of teams, a lot of data science teams that analyze this data, build out models, which will be able to catch newer threats, and pushes those models back into those network devices. Correct? Now, there is a lot of data that this team captures, and we're talking about multiple petabytes of data. And there are multiple teams that want to analyze this data. Now, the challenge that this company was facing is it was taking the big data team several weeks and sometimes months to go and provision an analytic cluster for the data science teams to use. Because each data science team will say, okay, I have a new model that I would like to analyze, but I want to have access to the data. So can you spin me up a cluster which has Kafka and Cloudera, Impala, and all those things? And there could be another team that will basically say, you know what, I'd like to build some nice dashboards. So I'd like to stream this data into an Elasticsearch cluster and then present it through Kibana, right? So I would like to have access to these things. And they were not able to deliver this very quickly, correct? So what they have done with Robin is they have built a managed service-like experience for these workloads. So Cloudera, Elasticsearch, Kafka, Kibana, all these running on Kubernetes on Robin storage. That's one. So that's one use case. So the pain point is agility and the quickness of provisioning so that the developers are not blocked on getting access to the analytic platform. So they can get their job done quickly. Another use case I would say, which will kind of showcase a different set of use cases of benefits, would be the world's largest travels booking company. And this company is pretty much whenever anybody does airline booking or hotel booking in the country, or in fact, I would say anywhere in the world, it goes through their databases. Now, they are a very, very, very large Oracle RAC shop, right? And they process a lot of data through Oracle RAC. Now, their DBA team wanted to have a Oracle RAC as a service experience for the DBA team where they could go run these databases. Then they would be able to run, quickly clone them, snapshot them and quickly clone them so that they can run reports, present reports, and do some what-if analysis on those reports and things like that. So that was very hard for them to do because it required them a lot of integration with VMware to go spin up these VMs and then run Oracle and that and all that. So with Robin using Kubernetes, what they're able to do is very quickly go and provision Oracle RAC clusters. And remember that Oracle RAC provisioning is not very simple because you have to support things like multi-mounted volumes and things like that at the storage layer, right? So we support all of those things. And they are able to quickly enable their DBA teams to do entire lifecycle management around traditional RDBMs, snapshots, clones, backups, upgrades, and all that.
What does this partnership mean for Robin system customers and Google customers?
So first of all, I would say that with this, any customer who wants to run any stateful workload on GKE or CSP, which is their on-premises Kubernetes, they'll be able to do that, right? Second thing is, because these workloads are very sensitive, they carry data, they will be able to do the typical lifecycle management that is absolutely required to be able to run this in production. They will be able to back them up, they'll be able to snapshot them, they'll be able to clone them. And third, I would say is that one of our, again, unique strengths is that the way we have thought about application level snapshots, again, I keep calling out this application level because we are not just storage level things. We actually elevate this thing into capturing storage data as well as app metadata. Because of that, one of the capabilities that we enable is the ability to port your entire app along with the data from on-premises GKE cluster to the public cloud GKE cluster, or from public cloud one region to the other. So you get this portability of your entire app with a simple tooling called Robin. And so I think that is the benefit that the customers are going to get. They are not logged into any particular data center. They can freely move from CSP to GKE or GKE back into CSP. They can now truly run their stateful workloads in production.
As to what does the partnership do to GKE customers, I think Partha highlighted that effectively, right? A whole new set of applications that customers would like to either have on a hybrid or a private cloud implementation with GKE. We enable that, right? Pretty excited about that. And then what does this do to Robin? I think as in our evolution, roughly 7 months ago is when we took the pivot on Kubernetes as a company, right? Prior to that, we had our own orchestration engine. We bet the company on Kubernetes. Now, this is the next step in the evolution in that, in addition to providing Robin platform, wherein we are packaging Kubernetes, storage, networking, and application engine to drive these workloads that we talked about, we are also having an offering where it doesn't matter which Kubernetes that you picked, starting with GKE today, we would be able to bring advanced data management capabilities to you so that, despite having picked a Kubernetes which is not from us, you're definitely not limited in any shape or form, but in fact, you're able to add more mojo or more power to your implementation of Kubernetes in that you can start bringing, let's say, Postgres or some of the NoSQL databases, or it could even be your custom application that you have, right? So being able to unlock the potential of the investment that you already have from a Kubernetes perspective is what the Robin value proposition is. So net, it increases the total addressable opportunity for us. So we're pretty excited about that.
Are you planning to work with other major cloud vendors as well, or you are going to be exclusive to Google, or you plan to bring your solutions to other cloud providers also, like Azure is there, AWS is there?
Absolutely. Being multi-cloud and agnostic of infrastructure has been our vision, and we are consciously working towards painting and delivering on that vision.
I think you captured it. Yes.
Right.
It's not an exclusive. We do want to support OpenShift and AKS, EKS, PKS.
And when will it be available? I think it's going to be announced today at Google Next, right?
Yeah, so the customer should be able to go to the Google Marketplace and be able to deploy Robin pretty much right away.
Right. So what are the new capabilities suddenly customers will start seeing there?
The ability to go and deploy any stateful app that has a Helm chart or an operator today, they should be able to quickly go and deploy that very easily. And the new thing that they'll start seeing is they can now go and snapshot an entire Helm chart or an operator. They can clone an entire Helm chart, or they can port an entire Helm chart from CSP to GKE and from one GKE region to the other. So that's pretty new, and they'll be able to see those capabilities.
How will this evolve?
We are heavily betting on the fact that more and more developers, DevOps organizations, these teams will want to have cloud agnosticity, or they would like to see a hybrid cloud or a multi-cloud and all that, right? So essentially, the infrastructure should become invisible, right? And they should be able to liberate their applications and the data from the underlying infrastructure choices. Because you might start in one data center today or one cloud today, but you want to have the flexibility to move it around, either because of cost or because the other region or other cloud has better resources or resources that are required to run certain types of workloads and things like that, right? So our vision is to make that happen, and that is part of our roadmap.
Excellent.
Yeah. So look, cloud native Kubernetes has come to stay, and our remit is to make sure that no app is left behind, right? So that's a long journey ahead. So we are consciously working towards making that a reality.
Okay, so it's going to be announced today and it will be available, but can people try it out without paying anything, or they have to be a paid, customer?
The way it's being offered by the GKE marketplace is that the customers are going to be incentivized to basically try it for free, and there's a certain trial period of 30 days. They can see the entire functionality. They're not limited by any of the functionality features and all that. And I would definitely encourage people to go and give it a shot, try it, and see how we're fundamentally changing how stateful workloads are being managed on Kubernetes.
What does support look like? People have any? Will Google be offering support, or Robin will be offering support?
It's a great question. So, like we mentioned in the past, right, earlier, that this is the preferred storage provider for CSP and GKE. And what that means is it's not just another vendor putting their software on marketplace. So Google is going to be taking the first level of support for this. So we are actually training their staff for supporting Robin. And from there, it will, of course, go to level 2, and level 3 will be done by Robin.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Partha and Radesh, talking to me today about this. And we'll look forward to talking to you again when the new next announcement from Robin is coming up. So once again, thank you.
Thank you.